Good morning, boys and girls. So, back to school on Monday. It's Monday today. We are going to do the global and local variables section of chapter 4, but we're going to go straight and dive into activity 4.11 on page 80. All of these activities we're going to try and do in one lesson. Now, the reason is because you learn from actual practice, doing it in practical. What we're talking about is global and local variables. Now, remember local variables in our button click event, we would declare variables over there, VAR. But for global variables, you declare them over here before this word implementation. Remember, implementation is like our method, so we can declare anything underneath where it says form 1, you can declare a global variable there. We could also go and put it over here, or we can go and put it under private. Now, the variable that we're going to do here is because we want the user to be able to type in a lot of numbers, and every time they click find sum, we're going to add up all the numbers that they type in, but they can only type in one number at a time. And we're going to click the button, type a number, click the button, type a number, click the button. Get the idea? And inside here, we're going to add that number to a running total. But let's first go and get the number from EDT number. Normal procedure where we go and get our number. I'll call it rnum :real, just in case they type a decimal point, and say rnum equals, well, we know we're going to do EDT number.text, but that's not good enough because real's on the left, string on the right. So what are we going to do? That string has to be converted string to float. All right, you remember all of that. So we get the number from the edit box, but now we want to add that to a total. And we have to have a running total, and it's going to be R total. Where are we going to declare it? Well, we go over here, and we're going to write R total : real. So we can do that there. There's another place to do it. We don't have to put it there. We can put it over here. Or we can put it over here. So there's 3 different places. What does that mean? Private means that if R total's here, everything in this program can use it and see it. Public means procedures that use other programs that use this program can see R total. But over here, it means it doesn't matter whether you're using the program there, you can see it. But it's fine, we'll just leave it over here. This is the common place to put our global variables. If you really want them private, we'll go and put them over there. This public section we don't really use, so don't worry about that. We'll talk about that next year. But R total is sitting over here as a global variable. Now, we don't know, maybe the processor will give it some random value. Remember, integers are given random numbers when you when you declare them in our button click events, local variables. So this is local, it's inside the procedure. That's global, it's sitting out there. That global variable is going to be available for the whole time that this program is running. Okay, so if I press the run button, R total is going to be here. It doesn't matter what's going on in our buttons, doesn't matter. Oops. The reason why that's because there was nothing inside this edit box, okay? That's why it gave that runtime error. See, I did program reset, run program reset, that helped me. Anyway, when you run the program, that R total is going to be available all the time. Only when we close our program, then R total is out of memory. But if you run this button click event, rnum is only available while the button has been clicked. When this end happens, rnum is gone. So any number that we get and type in here is going to be lost after the button is clicked. Now what we want to do is we want to add our rnum to R total. And this is how we do it. R total equals the previous R total plus rnum. And that's how you make a running total. What is R total before this button is clicked? Before the button is clicked, R total could be something. We can make sure that it's naught before we click the button for the first time. So when the program starts running, we can go into an onActivate event. So you click on your form, you go to the events over here on the left hand side. In onActivate, we double click, and this is where we're going to initialize our global variable, our total. We're going to make it equal to 0. So we start off at 0 before any button is clicked. And now it will only start off at 0 once while the program is running. When the program gets run for the first time, our total will be 0. This is the form activate event. What did I do? I clicked on the form, went to events, make sure that the form was selected. You can also select it here in the structure, and then you find on activate and you click inside that place, double click in that white area, that bar there, the white bar there, you just double click and then you get form activate, and you type our total equals 0. Now once we've done that, in our button click event, what we did, we got our number from our edit box, and then we said our total equals the previous our total, which will be 0 if it's the first time we click the button, plus our num. If we click the button again, then our total will have another num. Let's say you typed 3 inside there and you click the button. Then 3 is added to our total, because 3 will be our num. Our total was 0, so 3 plus 0 will be 3. Okay, so we know our total is now 3, and it's a global variable. It's not going to change. It's not going to go get wiped away. And when we go type another number, let's say 4, the previous our total was 3, and our num is 4, so 3 plus 4 is 7. So our total is now 7. Now where are we going to display our running total? Well, there is a label here called LBL running total. So total is updated, and we're going to display the updated total. So every time we go and add a number to our total, we're going to display it in LBL running total. So in the button click, we've updated our total. Now we're going to say LBL running total dot caption equals our total, but we can't just say that, we have to say float to string, remember, because our total is real and the caption is a string. So we've got to say float to string. So that's how it's going to work. You'll see. This is the perfect example of how to learn about global and local variables. You don't need any more explanation than that. So let me go and put in a number. Can you see it's running? It's going to, it's 12 plus 8. See, now it's the our total is there, so you know your program is fine. If I add another 4 to that, so now it's 24. Now you must study. This is a concept you're going to have to know all about for many, many years to come. Right, now we're going to go do the next one. Next activity 4.11.2 on page 77. And what we're going to do is we're going to open the maths operations project. Reads two integers and determines the sum, the difference, the product, the real quotient, integer quotient, modulus of two numbers. So we're going to do mod and div, guys. Oh my word. Real quotient meaning, you know, just divide the two. And integer quotient meaning div the two. Modulus meaning mod the two. So two numbers, we're going to add them, subtract them, multiply them. And let's hope this program hasn't got some issues with that file open. Like we had that last one, remember? You don't want to have to fix this one as well. Right, what's the, it's called maths operations, okay, maths operations, mathematical operations actually. All right, there it is, all nice. We're now going to have two numbers coming in there, add them, subtract, multiply, divide, but seriously, what are we going to do with it? Only once. It's only going to read two numbers once. So those two numbers are going to stay there, and that's it. Now, what they did here is they've got an algorithm. Can you see here a set of instructions almost telling you what to do? Create an onCreate event to clear the memo box. Now this is another version, another component that you haven't seen before. So you're learning all these different things as we go along. This is like a calculator, isn't it? Eh? So reads two numbers only once in terms of displays the sum difference and so on. Let's go and let's follow the instructions. Create an onCreate event to clear the memo. Right, what have we got here? This is a memo. It's not a memo, it's a rich edit. Right, it's an already display. Now memo is similar to a rich edit. A rich edit is like a high class version of a memo. It's like an upgraded memo. A memo is more like a text file, whereas a rich edit is more like a Word document if you want to compare the two. But anyway, we've got to clear the rich edit in onCreate. So we click on the form, and we know that we had onActivate before. Remember, we went and double clicked on Activate. Now onCreate is very similar to onActivate. So we just find onCreate. Oh my word, where is onCreate? There it is. And then you double click in the white, you just click on it and then double click inside that box area, and there we go. And the rich edit already display, oops, what is it called? Already display dot clear. That's it. You just say that clears your rich edit. Remember it. Remember. Next one, write code for the read dot button to read the two integer numbers from the edit boxes. So the read dot is going to read two integers. But after that button click, we want to use those two in all these other button clicks. So what does that tell us? If you're going to have two variables that you want to use in other procedures, you have to make those two variables global so that they can be used. You know what I mean? We want those variables to be available to all the other buttons as well. It's not just one button now, we've got lots of buttons that we want to use the same input. So the input is going to be inum1 and inum2. And well, let's keep it simple and let's do integers, okay? So we're going to do integers. We're going to have inum1 and inum2. Okay, there they are. Someone declared them for us. Right, inum1, inum2, integers, declaration of variables. Global variables, they're going to be used in all the button clicks. But in the read data button, we're going to give them values. Inum1 equals. Now, you say, but how can I just somewhere write it? Yes, I can, because inum1 is declared up there. See? And that will be string to int edt number1.text. I'm guessing, I don't think it's called that. edt num1 dot text. Right, and then the next one is inum2 equals edt num2 dot text. Now you cannot use inum1 and inum2 again. Okay, you can't use it as a local variable anywhere. Once you use global variables, don't dare use them in any other button click event. I mean the names. Don't say you can't do this. var inum1 colon integer. If you do that, then you've got a serious logical error. Okay, because the process will be confused. Which inum1 are we talking about? That one or this one? No, you can't confuse the processor. You have to only use the same. If you use global variables, you can't use it the same variables. You can't declare them. You can use them, but you can't declare them as variables anywhere else. So once you declared them as global variables, they cannot be declared again in another procedure. Yeah, we can use them. Yeah, this is totally legal. You can do that. So that's what they said you must do. Get the input and assign it to the two variables, the two global variables that are sitting over there. Right, so inum1 and inum2 can now be used in addition, and can be used subtraction, and so on. Okay, what is the next instruction? Write code for addition and all that stuff. Perform operations that are ready to and display the answers in the memo. They call it a memo box. It's not, it's a rich edit. So, you know, well, we're not going to do exactly what they. Okay, fine, we will do it. We'll have to go and we should actually make sure the rich edit's got the word operations in. So let's go onto our onCreate event handler again, and let's go and write the word red display dot lines dot add. I'm going to put a nice heading in here. Operations. Okay, and we can go and put in a blank line now. See, I put a blank line in the rich edit. Sure, you can even go and put a line. I mean, draw a line underneath it or whatever, you know. That is an empty line that's been added to the rich edit. So you're learning all the time. Now we're going to go to the addition. We're going to get enum1 and enum2. And we're going to display it in the rich edit. Now I'm going to make a local variable, call it I add :integer. I don't have to, but I'm making, oops, I didn't declare variable. I didn't say the word var, did I? No, I forgot. var, I add :integer. And I add is going to be equal to enum1 plus enum2. And then we say red display dot lines dot add and int to string enum1. This is a big story. Plus, and then plus a plus sign, and then plus, oops, not equal, plus, I want that to be like that, you know what I mean, plus int to string enum2. Take note, I'm using integers this time, and I'm not going to bother with real numbers because there's a lot of stuff to write here. Plus, and then I'm going to join that to an equals, oopsie daisy, okay, plus, and then an equals sign, plus, and then int to string I add, and there, and I close my bracket over there, see, and then we have it done. So there's that. I'm going to guess what I'm going to do with all this here. You know that I'm going to copy and paste because we haven't got time for that. So we'll have a number there, a number there, and then read the data. It has to be done, and then addition. So there it is. 22 plus 6 equals 28. Right, now I'm going to do the other buttons, and we know that we can copy and paste. We know that this works. Control C. And then I'm going to do subtraction, and I must now use, instead of I add, I want I subtract. So guess what I'm going to do, guys? I don't want to have to type, I want to have to go, there's 3 places, 1, well, okay, there's 2 and 3 that I have to type in the word I subtract. I don't want to do that. I want to change this variable to I subtract, but if I change it there, I have to change it there and there. Now to save time, guess what I do? Here's a trick. Save you lots of time in exams. I highlight that, and then I highlight my whole range of where I want to change the variable. Click on those 2 little pens there. I don't know whether you can see it on the video. There's 2 little yellow pens. It's called sync edit mode. Click on it, and then instead of I add, I'm going to type the word I subtract. See what happens. It changes the variables wherever I want it. Done and dusted. And of course over here I must just click on the plus and type a minus. So there we go. And 22 and 9. Well, okay, fine. Addition. Oops. Oh no, I forgot to read data, guys. Read data. Addition. Subtraction. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Can you see I didn't subtract? I might have changed my variables, but I forgot to change the mathematical symbol. Minus. Right, we know that's going to work. Now, just study this. Rich edit lines dot add. I've got to display enum1. I've got to display a minus sign. Then I've got to display enum2. Then I display an equal sign. And then I display the answer of subtracting. That's quite a lot of stuff. It's a one long string joined together with all of those little strings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strings joined together. And we know that from the plus signs. Right, let's go and do the rest. We know multiplication, that'll be easy. Now we can really do this now. And I really don't want to waste any time, so I'm copying and pasting. I multiply. Now I'm going to do my edit sync mode, highlight, I multiply, and then instead of a plus sign, I'll type a star. Instead of a plus sign there, I'm going to type a star or a multiplication. I can just type an X, I suppose. Anyway, that's good enough. Now for the division, that's going to be quite tricky because we have to go and use a real number. Yep, R divide. So I'm going to say R divide and use a forward slash here and a forward slash here. But over here, I've got to say float to string. And maybe I should actually format it with an F, R divide, comma, FF fixed, comma 8, maybe 3 decimal points, you know, it doesn't really matter. So there it is. Study that. Next one, integer div and mod. Now div and mod return integers. That's why it was a good idea for inum1 and inum2 to be integers, because you cannot use real values in div. So I'm going to call my variable I div. When you use div, you can't use integers, anything other than integers. So there it is. Div. Inum1 div inum2. And then, see I said I div. I div is my variable. Div is the actual function, and that's how it works. If you didn't know, now you know. And then mod. And I'm going to highlight all of this. 2 pens, I mod, and instead of div, I'm going to type mod. Can you see how easy it is to do this if you copy and paste and use these tools that have been provided for you? So I'm going to go and put my 2 numbers in now. Oops, why do I have errors? Okay, integer and extend R divide equals inum1 divided by inum2. Okay, maybe that was the problem, spaces, I don't know. Right. Oh, R divide, it's not an integer, it's a real. Okay, that was the problem there, hey? See? Yep. Okay, what are the numbers that they wanted us to use? I'm going to use 22 and 4, just for fun. 22. It's not exactly like the display, but oops, I forgot to read my data again. That is so stupid. You have to click the read data button. If you don't click the read data button, you haven't put the variables into the global, the input. You haven't put the input into the global variables, and that's where they all are. So there it is. 22 plus 4, 22 minus 4. That all looks fine to me. 22 div 4 is 5, remainder 2, mod is our remainder. Right, if you don't know div and mod, go and study it up again on the previous sections. Right, now we're going to do 4.11.3. Okay, I don't know whether we should do it. You probably don't have time. I think you must actually try and get this program done. I think this would be quite enough for you for local and global variables for now. So make sure you can do those programs by yourself and understand them.